platform that connects borrowers and lenders. And if you need help along the way, Biz2Credit's loan experts are there to help. Biz2Credit was actually one of our first partners on our Tax Act Pro Advance website. And as many of you know, Tax Act Pro Advance is an online resource center where you can find tips, ideas, and offers to help grow and manage your practice. And that web address is proadvance.taxact.com. So now I'd like to introduce Tracy Kelleher, Vice President of Business Development at BizAnalyzer. And for the next half hour or so, Tracy will be sharing information and tips that you can apply to your own practice and share with your small business clients. One last thing before I hand it over to Tracy. You can submit questions at any time in the chat box on the webinar menu that you see on your screen. And we'll answer as many of those questions as we can at the end of the webinar. So feel free at any point during the webinar to submit the questions again in the chat box. And now, Tracy, I'll pass the baton on to you.
Jessie, thank you so much. And I echo Jessie's thanks to the group for joining us today. Let me also add a housekeeping note that the audio recording and the slides of today's presentation will be posted on the Tax Act Pro Advance website. We'll be sending you an email with information about that as well. Also, if you'd like to reach out directly to me or Jessie, of course, we'd be glad to send it along. As Jessie said, BizAnalyzer was one of the first partners with Tax Act, and we did that because we know that obtaining financing is a key driver of growth, not just for you as a tax preparer, but also for your clients. And we were happy to be the first partner to kick off their partner solutions within that. Let me tell you a little bit about Biz2Credit so you can put us, kind of give us some location in the market and in the overall context of small business lending. Biz2Credit is a profitable, rapidly growing small business lending technology company. We've been around since 2007. Banks, non-banks, and large B2B or business-to-business players use the Biz2Credit platform to manage small business financing requests, but also to support interaction between their teams and their small business clients. The platform, the technology platform, has facilitated, in other words, supported more than $1.5 billion in financing for small businesses in the U.S. since 2007. And each month, that technology platform is managing more than 8,000 requests for credit from small businesses across the country and in all industries. And at BizAnalyzer, as a result, we have a view into those credit requests. We have a view, a real-time pulse on the type of credit that's being requested, the areas of growth in the country as a result, the types of businesses that are looking for credit. And of course, we track those. And if you go onto our website, you'll see a lot of support information about statistics that we take out of our platform and share out back to the public on a real-time basis. So the real core of the platform is connecting businesses and lenders for mutual success. But we also include business community opportunities. So we support a knowledge center, blogs, proprietary financial tools for businesses, and tips for small businesses to help them manage their day-to-day activities. And again, that community is really centered around managing for success. We are quick other points is we're privately held. We're based in New York City. We have about 200 plus employees. And although we're headquartered in New York, I work out of our St. Louis, Missouri location. Biz2Credit is really, as I've said, is building a collaborative environment for helping small businesses maintain their success and helping tax preparers and other key business stakeholders connect to their clients. And we do that through a very robust platform that includes myriad partnerships. And I just wanted to share with you some of those partnerships to give you a sense of where, what we're doing in this space. You can see we work with banks, small business solution providers, non-bank funding partners, payment processors, and integrators. Our bank partnerships with companies like Citibank, Customers Bank, Macquarie, Tata Capital, those are designed both to allow for those banks to provide financing products on the BizAnalyzer marketplace that would be available to small businesses seeking products, but we also are helping those banks more efficiently fund small business opportunities by allowing them or entering into relationships with them to license the technology, so that that platform that's used today in the small business space through the Biz2Credit marketplace is now being white labeled and utilized by banks to help them become more efficient in the space. But our small business solution partners, as you see, include Paychex and TaxAct. Our non-bank funding partners are there because we know, as I'll talk about in a little bit, that there are, there are certain scenarios where a bank opportunity is really not available to the small business for myriad reasons, which we'll discuss. So we've collected a group, we've collaborated with a group of non-bank funders who create our investment and, our institutional platform. And then our payment processors, these are credit card processors like Heartland and Sage, give us interesting data for underwriting and credit decisioning, but they also are partners sending their small businesses in for financing requests. And then the integrators and VARs like Deloitte and Wipro, Microsoft. We work with them on a daily basis to identify new opportunities. So let's look at really what we want to talk about today. I mean, we want to help you become a trusted advisor when it comes to your clients' financing needs. We know that trust is something that you, as a tax preparer, has worked very, very hard to earn with your clients. But in today's digital role, the role of tax professional, in today's digital world, the role of tax professional has been forced to expand. You can no longer just be engaged in tax preparation. You really need to be looking at other solutions that you can bring to your clients to help them maintain their business and or grow their business, and also help them maintain and continue their relationship with you. So we know also then business owners are increasingly turning to self-serve websites and accounting packages to file their taxes. There's a lot of pressure there for you from robo tax filing that occurs, and the same thing holds true for financing. But we know at the core of this all that many small business owners are still seeking guidance from their tax professional, you, when it comes to managing their finances. And so this is really where we want to help you, educate you on what's happening in the market today, and then provide you with a way through the technology platform and the partnership of TaxAct and Biz2Credit, provide you with a way to help direct your clients to be successful when their financing needs. So let's look at current market conditions. Banks obviously still hold the significant portion of debt that's in the market, but they're really struggling to lend to small businesses profitably. Enhanced regulatory requirements are a significant drag in the sector right now, and a lot of capital is deployed on regulatory requirements that banks are forced to also include other types of requirements on capital holding, so it's really stressing them on their ability to lend in the market. But their other ability to lend in the market is hampered further by things like shortage of IT talent, by the lack of profitability overall in the small business space. It's been a very, very difficult sector for banks to crack, and when we say small business from a bank perspective, if you're talking with a large bank like Citibank, their small business group goes up to $1 million in client exposure. Most banks are around $250,000 or $500,000 credit requests. But all of these factors are coming to play on the bank space, really stressing that space, and that has allowed for an interesting development too in the alternative space, which we'll talk about. But I just wanted to put this in perspective. Again, while they do hold the market share, there's a lot of stressors in the market, which is why a lot of these banks look to a partner like Biz2Credit to alleviate that stress, to reduce those inefficiencies, and use a technology platform to be more efficient and move downstream. Let's look at the placement of today's small business debt. So there's about $750 billion in total addressable market of small business credits, and this is data from the Small Business Administration in the U.S. We've pulled data from the Federal Reserve Board, which has a really great credit study that I'd like to share with you all at the end of we'll send it out to you all. So thank you for your attendance today. But the Federal Reserve Board, Oliver Wyman is a consulting company. Those are the key data providers that we're using to pull this information for you today. So $750 billion in total addressable market. Let's start at the bottom of the pyramid. $300 billion of that are small business commercial real estate deals. Those are the very complex deals, but obviously a key driver for businesses throughout the U.S. There's another $300 billion in sort of other non-CRE debt. Then we look at about an 80 to 120 billion in unmet demand. In other words, these are the businesses' demand that's out there that's not being satisfied today for various reasons. And then at the top of the pyramid, the purple triangle you see is 30 billion in alternative financing. So that's the amount of market share that those alternative lenders have today in the space. Now let's look at the small business funding experience. This is great data from that Federal Reserve Board study, which I'll share with you all. 64, I'm looking at the graph now, about 64% of total requests for small businesses is less than $100,000 in request size. So you can see how that doesn't quite sync up with the capabilities of banks at this point. 21% of that comes between 100 and 500,000, and then the remaining is, 500,000 up to 2 million and greater than 2 million. So you can see that a majority of the small business requests, more than 50%, are coming in that less than $100,000 amount. And yet, 42% of small businesses have outstanding debt, so they certainly are being successful, at least 42% of them, in obtaining some type of financing. But when you look at the effort that it takes to go through the application process, on average, the Fed Reserve Board study shows that it takes a small business 3 applications that they've got to go through, which is the same information over and over again. They go to about 2.7 financial institutions are contacted during this process, and they spend about 33 hours on average, that's on average, applying for credit. And yet 44% of them, according to the study, are denied funding right out, and another 21% only receive partial funding. So there is a lot of pressure in the space, and yet businesses are, the year-over-year growth is there in terms of the growth in funding. So, we're seeing, and when we look at on the biz to credit side, we're seeing much stronger balance sheets, much stronger tax returns, of course, than we did in 2007, 8, 9, 10. And, on par, the businesses are looking better when they're showing up with 2 years of reportable income to go out for funding. And so we're seeing things really looking solid, and we're seeing a lot of growth opportunity for the small businesses that are coming through our platform. So the stress on the businesses is there. It's difficult and cumbersome to go out and apply for financing. I think it's also interesting for you, from a tax professional perspective, to understand too that there is a whole new host of new underwriting criteria that your businesses, as well as you as business owners, could potentially be evaluated on. Things like your social media activity, things like online customer reviews. Those are definitely being used by some lenders to help further evaluate and make a good credit decision. Through a lot of technology, the ability to look at bank statements is there now versus submitted financials. The banks and non-bank lenders can actually look at the bank statements themselves and do cash flow analysis off those bank statements. That's what our platform does in a fully automated fashion. Online payment history, that's another one. And then, of course, proprietary algorithms that are used to process the big data about your clients' businesses. So I point this out just to show you that when you're thinking about talking with your customers, there's the core 5 C's of credit that you typically talk about with them, but there are other variables or rather attributes that are being analyzed today as part of this credit request that your businesses are going to be going through. So what are the opportunities? Well, tax professionals like yourselves are looking to expand their financial services and grow your revenue and compete in the marketplace. And you're forced to be knowledgeable about things beyond, taxes, things like payroll, HR benefits, third-party accounting software packages. So you've got a lot of pressure and opportunity to expand your knowledge and support your clients. When you look at it, 44% of new debt is by your clients or is taken on to support business expansion. So to take a little bit of a paraphrase from that great movie Jerry Maguire, if you help them, you help yourselves. So 44% of your clients, when they're taking on debt, they're looking to grow. Growth means further relationship with you. So this is really a key area where you can support them and also help them help you. And remember, your clients are looking for you as a trusted advisor to help them understand the opportunities. So they're looking to you for guidance. And when we look at the data, when we look at the bank data that we have access to, or the whole small business financing data that we have access to, the number one reason business loan applications are declined is due to incomplete or incorrect paperwork. And when you work in collaboration with your clients, you can help them resolve this issue by managing some of that data process in a very easy fashion for them or with them. Let's take a quick look at the financing products that are around in the market today, so the things your clients are looking for and being presented with. Term loans are the ones we're all familiar with. Those can take up to 3 months to process. 3 to 5+ years, fully amortizing the standard credit products that we are used to in the historic credit markets. Commercial mortgage, as I mentioned earlier, that's about 40% almost of all of the debt that's out there today. It can take up to 1 year, and that is extremely complicated. There's a lot of paperwork. In that space where your clients are really active today, using a platform like the Tax Act Business Credit Partnership, which we'll talk a little bit more about specifically, but using a platform like that, you can help collaborate with your clients to help them be successful and get those packages completed. Another product that's out there is SBA loans. Those were really obviously the only financing vehicle during the recession, but the use of the SBA product has not slowed since that time. Those can take 3 months up to a year. But those are a great risk reducer for the banks because there's up to 50%, up to 85% sometimes liability reduction by the bank because it's a federal guaranteed product. Those are up to 7 years for working capital, 10 years for equipment, and up to 25 years for real estate. Then you look at the non-bank working capital that's available through our platform and others. That's when you hear peer-to-peer or marketplace. They're typically looking in that non-bank working capital products, and that's where the funds, because you're looking in a more automated opportunity, it's a less complicated credit structure, and those can fund within about 72 hours, and those are typically 12 months up to maybe 3-year terms. I didn't put this down here, but they typically max out at about most 150,000. And then they're often secured by business assets or lien on business assets or credit card receivables. And then another product that's been around for a while but is really also gaining speed is invoice factoring because of the simplicity that you can support invoice factoring through a technology platform. So it just gives you a look at some of the core products and then the newer products that are out there. When we look at okay, so who is approving those types of products? These are statistics from the Business Credit Lending Index, which we put out every month. As of September, the big banks, and those are qualified as 10 billion plus in assets, approved 23.4% of loan applications. Small banks, so your community banks, are approving about 48.7% of their loan applications. And these are the next interesting categories. We just started tracking institutional investors and alternative lenders, and you can see that the approval rates there are significantly higher. And those are really 2 new groups of opportunities that your clients would have for funding. And then credit unions, they have credit union member business lending caps, so they're somewhat strapped from a regulatory perspective with regards to their capabilities in this space, but those that do fund are approving 41.3% of the funding requests. And again, this is all from data out of our system. So that gives you a look at kind of who's out there lending. We just looked at what the products are out there. Now let's look at what can you do to help solve this or to bring a solution to the table for your clients. Well, through this type of a partnership with Tax Act and Biz2Credit, you can leverage technology no matter what size you are. You could be a one-person sole practitioner, professional, working on a seasonal basis, or you could be a larger practice with several several professionals in the practice working with businesses. That is really irrelevant. Regardless of your size, you can leverage technology to help your clients be successful when it comes to financing. You can help them easily source capital. You can introduce your clients to a single application process, which is fully digital, that while they may go to 2 or 3 institutions along the way, they only are ever filling out one application. That's a big opportunity and a reduction in that 33 hours of time I mentioned it takes them. This can help, you can help them reduce that time. And you can increase your referral opportunity, your revenue opportunity with a referral. So there are referral relationships we can structure here if you're interested in, if you're able to send your clients through for financing options. So how do you do that? We have a portal that we've branded for Tax Act. It's biz2credit.com/Tax Act. And at that location, which is available also off of the Pro Advanced site, clients fill out this iframe, this simple initial form, which you see on the right side of this clip from the website. It's a simple online application. It gathers client-provided data as well as third-party data that's pulled automatically with consent as your client moves through the process. That data is run through a decision algorithm that's embedded in the BizAnalyzer technology platform, and they're able to be matched with appropriate funding opportunities. All those documentation can be signed with e-signature. The entire process is managed online. It's easy, it's transparent, it's effective, and we can track the clients that come in from your practice, and we can talk a little bit more about that, but they can be tracked that come in from your practice as well, and that's where that revenue share comes in. And if you think about it, the opportunity also is once the data is here, as I said earlier, we're about community building. We're about partnerships and reaching out and bringing in as many stakeholders as possible that are necessary for small businesses to conduct their business, bringing them all together for collaboration. And one of those ways that collaboration is beneficial is in the financing journey, because a lot of times businesses start off with, they're looking for maybe a short-term 12-month working capital product, but eventually they'll be moving into a longer-term product. And the value of having the data in the platform is that it can be refreshed, and then the opportunity to expose that information to other lenders as your clients progress in their business plan is very, very easy to do because it can be simply updated and reintroduced, as I said, through the platform. So some of the lenders in the platform, as I mentioned, with the appropriate financial information, funding can be secured in as little as 24 hours, depending on the lender and the type of the product. And the funds today are from $5,000 up to $1 million. So I mentioned, some groups or some alternative lenders are only going up to 150. I think the opportunity here through the platform is you can go up to $1 million, and in fact, we actually have a group of for commercial real estate that goes up to $5 million as well, if your businesses are looking for that. Through this type of a technology platform, you can introduce your clients to myriad types of funding. I talked about products. This is a little bit deeper on that, but SBA loans, working capital, lines of credit, equipment financing, refinancing, as well as merchant cash advance, and then I mentioned the commercial real estate loans. So there's really a lot of, as I said, varied opportunity here that really is going to suit your businesses at any stage of their life cycle. So why use a digital platform? I mean, I think the opportunity here for you is to really, as I started off by saying, become a trusted advisor with your clients. You can easily collaborate with your clients online in this capacity, so the application itself can be opened and user permissions can be granted to trusted advisors like a tax professional who can then submit tax returns, interim financial statements, other documentation that might be needed. That can be done with drag and drop or quick upload on behalf of your clients. It's very easy for that to take place. And then your clients are collaborating with the lenders. So as the lenders are needing information, they're reaching out automatically to your clients, who then can self-serve and provide that information or reach out to you to provide it on their behalf. Everybody is able to see what's happening with the credit request and obviously understand where it's being hung up. Because I said earlier, remember the number one reason that small businesses are declined is because of incomplete records. So using this type of technology helps you with that completion rate. And then, as I said earlier, these records are maintained on the platform in a secure and encrypted manner. Rules and permission levels are designed for each user. Our whole system, and we're hosted on Amazon Web Services, for those of you who like to understand the technology side a little bit more deeply, we're hosted on Amazon Web Services. We undergo regular vulnerability attacks and hack testing. We are SOC compliant, so this is and this platform, also BizAnalyzer in and of ourselves, we're getting pulled internationally too. It's been very interesting to see that this demand and this need for credit is not just a U.S. issue, it's an international issue. And we've just launched a broker network for commercial real estate and small business opportunities in Australia. We have banks we partner with in India and other countries. So in summary, again, we want to help you become a trusted advisor. Today there are myriad small business funding options, run the gamut from your traditional credit opportunities to alternative credit, to federal guarantee programs like SBAs or CDFIs, which are community development financial institutions. But to be a trusted advisor, it's critical to keep educated on the options. And with joining our platform and this partnership, you can easily offer your clients a way to complete one application that can be shared with multiple lenders. You can offer your clients a mobile-first opportunity to find funding. You can collaborate with your clients on the funding application. You can keep educated because you'll become a part of the Biz2Credit network and have access to the Knowledge Center and blogs, etc., which I've talked about. And then, of course, there's that opportunity for a referral fee that doesn't impact your clients. That's paid by the lender if they are able to fund the deal, and that part of that can go back to your practice. So that's another way to think about being able to bring value, to a win-win scenario. Help your clients and help yourselves. Those are the key points I wanted to cover today. We are happy to take questions, and I would love to, Jesse, I think, has been monitoring our chat as I've been going through the presentation today. So I'm happy to, Jesse, to see if there's any questions you've seen come through, and I do look forward to talking further with you all. So please use that chat function on your screen. And make sure you send the request to staff, and we will be able to answer accordingly.
Sure. So, Tracy, we do have a couple of questions here. One of them deals with the actual application process. So what's the typical time frame and process from the time that myself or one of my clients applies for funding to the day that we would have money in hand?
Sure, that's a great question, and that is largely driven by the type of funding that your clients are going to be looking for, and then it's the secondary driver is going to be what type of technology support does that lender have. So in the alternative space, the newer entrants for funding typically are using digital solutions, and through the BizAnalyzer platform, as an example, funding can be available, a pre-qualification in 24 hours or less in some cases, and then funding up to within 72 hours. And those are typically those daily, weekly, or monthly repayment products. Bank products, again, the banks like Citi or Customers Bank that are using the technology platform can move through the credit underwriting process much more quickly and efficiently. Those credit requests can take up to 3 months or longer. generally the larger the deal, the more complicated, the more paperwork, the more due diligence, appraisals, environmentals for things like a gas station are necessary. But all of those types of activities can be handled through a technology platform. For example, we do digital site visits, and if you think about it, you have your clients are someone needs to come out and evaluate them. So we support that entire process through your tablet. So the individual that's doing the inspector doing the site visit shows up at your client. They have their tablet. They pull up a form. They answer questions that are custom by the bank. They take pictures through the tablet, and then as soon as they're back on the internet, that entire application or that site visit is made available to the bank. So I think that's just a really interesting way to show how technology can be used not to help, no one's cutting corners on underwriting, right? In fact, as I said earlier, the credit analysis is almost deeper because there's all these other non-core underwriting criteria that lenders are looking at. But they can use technology to do that core underwriting and do those core functions in a much more efficient manner. And digital site visits is a great way to highlight that. It's a little bit of a sidebar, but I think that's an interesting. I think the banks are beginning to see that too.
Okay. Then another question is, if my clients want to apply, do you recommend that I complete the application online, or should I have them do that themselves?
Oh, that's a great one. So the value of this opportunity.
Tracy, did we lose you?
I think we did.
Tracy must have dropped off.
Okay,
Yeah,
so yeah, let me jump in. So I've been listening in the background. A quick introduction to everyone. My name is Rob Kleiber. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at BizAnalyzer. I wanted to touch on the last question real quickly because I think it was important. Then I'll jump into the Account Advisor Program and where does it make sense for it to go through. I think the short answer is, deals can be funded in as quick as a day. And so where the value comes in when the accountant is entering the information, and the information is usually more accurate than when they're doing it themselves. The financials are trusted and validated and uploaded, and it gives the underwriters a real sense of doing it. So we see higher approval rates, and we also see faster turn times when it comes through the accountants. The accountant then would have a relationship with someone here at BizCredit so they can pick up the phone and find out exactly what's going on and where the best match for that customer might be. There are different products like mortgages that can take a longer period of time. If it's bank financing, it can take a couple extra days. But usually the biggest driver on turn time in a bank loan, to Tracy's earlier point, is that the loan application is complete, right? So if the loan application is not complete, there'll be information going back and forth. So if your client's in need of money, the best advice we can give is for the customer and you to enter the application, submit the requested docs, and then let's sit and have a conversation about what the best options for the customer are. So going to the second question, absolutely, if you enter it through the Account Advisor Program, that is the way to go. That way you can see the progress of the loan as it goes. If there's any information missing, you can jump in there and upload it and really act as that advisor to the customer. So that is definitely the preferred method to send customers through the Account Advisor Program, where you'd be actually helping them. Many times, which we really didn't hit on this earlier, when the customer gets declined by a bank, right? and that does happen a lot. The question is, where do we turn? Where do we turn next? So the value of the platform here, again, is we are not a lender. We bring together borrowers and lenders and try and find the right mix. So that's really one big value add that an accountant or CPA can bring to their customer, is taking a lot of this time and uncertainty out of the picture. So from that standpoint, the preferred method is for the accountant to, with the customer, you know, fill out the application through the platform.
And also, if I can say thanks, Rob. This is Tracy. Appreciate that.
Yeah, we lost you there for a minute.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what happened, so thanks for stepping in.
And then there's one more question if there's time here. So
yeah, go ahead.
Can you talk a little bit more about the incentive for tax professionals to refer their small business clients for referrals?
Sure, sure. So to Rob's point, I heard him talking about the accountant advisor program. So what we do is we will set up a, either we can do a white label opportunity. By that I mean if you have a website today and you'd want to link off in a custom format onto the digital application, that can be done, and that will allow us to track the deal coming from your firm. Or we'll set up an account advisor link for you. It doesn't have to be branded with your firm, and your clients can go through that. So what happens, that means that we can track them. And then once that client is through the process and is funded, we share a % of that revenue back with your practice. And again, I mentioned this earlier, that is not a cost that is passed through to your client. So you are not loading any costs on your client through that referral opportunity for yourself, because that is paid as a referral opportunity from the bank or the non-bank lender, not passed through the customer.
And
anything you want to add about that, Rob? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is, you know, that fee is going to be paid out regardless of who the actual lender is, right? Whether it's alternative lender, whether it's you know, a community bank, whether it's a large, you know, multinational bank, right, or someone else. You know, the source of funding is always going to be based off, you know, what's the best available option for the customer, right? So the fee will be based off that and based off the dollar amount.
Yeah, and I think it's, yeah, I'm sorry, Rob. I was just going to add, you know, if you think back to the partner slide that I shared, that is the way that we're approaching the market, and a lot of our partners are looking at that referral opportunity, and you know, we have this type of relationship with something like a Paychex or Heartland. It doesn't have, you don't have to have a referral component. I mean, you don't have to have a revenue component here. Just by virtue of participating, you know, if you wanted to not avail yourselves of that opportunity, that doesn't disclude you from the program. We can still set up an account advisor opportunity for you, because at the end of the day, you know, we're looking to help you, help your businesses grow, help your businesses stay in business, and both of those things, you know, equate to a continuing customer for you, and that's really the way, you know, that all of our referral partners approach this opportunity.
Okay. Let's see, I don't see any other questions. So, Tracy, do you have any closing thoughts that you want to end with?
I'll just say again that we are going to be putting this audio recording as well as the slides. Those will be available as a link off the ProAdvance site. We can also send those to you directly. And I have put up a slide here with giving the name of Alan Finn. Alan is one of our dedicated tax professional subject matter expert at Biz2Credit, and he's also available to send that information to you or answer any questions you might have about our program or our financing options. So with that, I think we can close out the Biz2Credit side of the discussion and just thank everybody for their time. Jesse, any other comments you might have today?
We will also post a recording of this webinar at taxactprofessional.com/webinars. So there will be multiple places where you can find this information. And again, like Tracy said, if you can't find that information easily, just contact one of us and we'll be happy to send that to you directly. Again, we thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. If you have any questions, again, feel free to contact us or visit our website, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Have a great one. Take care, everybody.